Hi everyone, welcome to a quick video about troubleshooting receiving syslog to our QRadar hosts. So the scenario I'm going to look at in this video is pretty simple. You have any system sending syslog to QRadar, but you are not able to see the events in your system, or at least you cannot find the events. So let's say I have these log sources right now. I have the default QRadar log sources. I have one log source for my Windows events, and I have, of course, the SIEM generic log source. So I have set up a syslog test in our syslog agent that will send sample syslog messages when I want to. And the first thing that you can verify in order to, you can check in order to verify that your host is receiving your syslog messages from the system is you can go to the CLI of the host that you are receiving the syslog events on. So if it's the console, you SSH to the console, and if it's any event collector or processor, you SSH to that host from the console. Once you are on the host, we are going to use the TCP dump command in order to receive and listen to traffic going to the host. We're going to use the TCP dump command. We're going to use the flag I for interface and specify the interface we are going to listen on. If you are not sure about your interface, you can type IP space A and look for the IP that you are sending events to. In my case, this is this IP, and you can see it's under ETH0 interface. So we can go back to the command. That's clear. You can type TCP dump flag I ETH0, and the following flags are going to be -NN. This will be to tell TCP dump to not resolve IP addresses into hostname and do not resolve ports into names. And we're going to use V to make it a bit more verbose. Next, if you want to listen to a specific address, you're going to type src and your address, and you're going to type and port for the port 514. Now I'm not going to listen to a specific IP address because I have only one host sending events on that port. So I'm going to just use this command TCP dump interface NNV port 514. Now I'm listening, as you can see, and I'm gonna send a test message from my rsyslog agent. I sent one. As you can see, we have the timestamp, the identifier, which is server, and the syslog message. I'm gonna send a few more of these. Now, by receiving and seeing these messages on the host, we officially confirmed that our host has received the message. Okay, so we have fixed one issue. If you are sending events and you are not seeing them over TCP dump, you should either check that you have set up the destination port to be 514, or if it's a TLS syslog and you have configured other ports to listen to, you should specify the correct port here on TCP dump. You should specify again, you should check whether the interface you're listening on is correct. You can again check with IPA if the interface is correct. Or you should just check if the sending service is sending events to the right server, to the right IP address. So once we deal with that, we verify that our host is receiving messages. Now we can troubleshoot on QRadar. Now we are obviously receiving messages, but we are not seeing them in our log sources. Let's say I've already checked under my Windows log source and I do not see my messages there. The first thing you should do is go to SIEM generic, which is the source of events or the destination of events that's more correct, that QRadar does not really know where to put. It can't really decide on which log source should receive them, or there's simply not any log source with that identifier. So QRadar will just keep them here. And sometimes if you have an auto update, an auto detect configuration, let's say for Linux servers. So you might have seen a new log source which is auto detected that would say syslog server at and the IP that you're sending logs from. But anyway, in this case, as you can see, we have some events under the SIEM generic. We can view the raw events, and we can see that these are indeed the syslog messages that we have seen for our case that are sent from the rsyslog agent. Now we can go into a specific event to see what is the identifier QRadar has detected for this message. If you go a bit down, we'll search for log source identifier, and we can see that QRadar identified the identifier as server. Now, if we'd like to ingest these syslog messages into a specific log source, we would create a new log source. For now, I will choose the universal DSM. I will choose syslog. I will call this test. I have one event collector, so that's okay. I will turn off coalescing for now, and I will type the identifier, which is server. Now I have the new log source. As you can see, where is it? It's not auto discovered and it's not deployed. We need, of course, to deploy our system in order to receive events straight to the new log source. As you can see, we'll deploy the changes. Now, once the changes will be deployed, we'll be able to send new syslog messages, and our new log source will be able to ingest them. Let's for now open real-time streaming to see that happen in real time. Let's wait for it to deploy. So the system has been deployed. Let's send a few messages. As you can see, they are going straight to my new log source. Let's view it in raw events, and they are successfully reaching the test log source. So this was one scenario. For our second scenario, I am going to change the identifier of the logs in my rsyslog agent to an already existing identifier. Let's take this. I'll switch it in my rsyslog agent for the source name, and I'm gonna send some messages. So let's open the events. As you can see, because the identifier is the same of an existing log source, the events we sent will go straight into the existing log source. Let's see it in raw events, as you can see. Now, the way you can fix this is by either changing the identifier of the second new sending system, or you can create a new DSM for the second system, map the events, parse the event ID and event category, create a new log source with that DSM, and then you'll be able to have two log sources, with the same identifier, and your problem should be fixed. Please notice you can't have two log sources from the same log source type, meaning two, let's say, Windows servers with the same identifier. Hi guys, so I will show you how we can avoid or fix the issue that we have seen in the last scenario, where we had one log source with the same identifier, and then we sent logs from a second system with the same identifier. Now, in that case, as we have seen, the logs will be the logs from the new system will go into unknowns or a generic DSM message into the existing log source. Now, if we want to fix that, as I said, we can either create a new log source from a second log source type and set that identifier. And I have done just that. I have, since the logs I've sent are from a generic syslog agent, I have created a log source type and I have parsed the event ID and event category. And here we have it. It's log sources test. So let's open this up. As you can see, the log source is test. The log source type is test ls. The identifier is the same as in my Windows server, as you can see. So let me open up the events from the test ls log source. Let me open up the last 30 minutes. And as you can see in the raw events, the identifier is the same as the existing log source. And we have the messages coming to the right log source. And we can also verify that. We don't need to verify that because it already has gone into the log source, but you get what I'm saying. We have the correct identifier. So this was the second scenario where your logs are going to a second or a different log source than you want them to. And we have a third scenario where you verify that logs are coming into your system, but you have not been able to find them anywhere in QRadar. They are not under SIEM generic. They are not under a second log source. They're not in the log source you have created. And if you could also probably look for the identifier that you know in the logs, and you search the specific identifier in QRadar, and you've looked under all the other log sources and you still haven't found your logs that are getting sent to QRadar, it is possible that you just might want to restart the event collection. So you could do that system-wide. If you go to the admin console and do restart event collection services, but that would be system-wide and it's slightly an overkill sometimes. You could do that specifically on your target host that gets the log sent to, simply by restarting the ECS EC ingress service. Now, once you restart the service and it gets running once again, you can check that by looking at the status, and it's running, and you verify with TCP dump that the logs are getting to the system. You should see your logs in QRadar in log activity. If after this you still don't see logs, so either you're not doing something correctly, you either didn't search with the right identifier, maybe you missed the logs in the existing log source, or something like that. So I recommend running through this again. So after you have verified the logs are getting to your server, you restarted the event collection services, you have set up a log source with the correct identifier, you verified that the logs aren't going to existing log sources, and this still doesn't work, I recommend you to open a ticket to IBM support, and they should help you solve your issue. So this was a quick troubleshooting video on seeing your logs in QRadar. I hope this was clear. Thank you and see you in the next video.